The race to lead New York City is almost over. The air is thick with anticipation as the city braces for a pivotal moment in its history. On October 22nd, 2025, the three main mayoral candidates faced off in their final debate at the LaGuardia Performing Arts Center in Queens. This event was highly anticipated, drawing attention from all corners of the city. This was their last chance to sway millions of voters before Election Day. The atmosphere was charged, with every word and gesture scrutinized by an eager public. The debate was electric, 90 minutes of sharp exchanges and clashing visions for the city's future. Each candidate brought their A game, knowing the stakes couldn't be higher. Moderators pressed the candidates on urgent issues, subway fares, public safety, and the housing crisis. These topics are at the heart of daily life for millions of New Yorkers. Each candidate fought to prove they were ready for the city's toughest job. Their performances could make or break their campaigns. The stakes were high, with New York at a crossroads, rising costs, safety concerns, and a tense relationship with the federal government. The future of the city hung in the balance. The debate wasn't just about policies, it was about the city's identity and the kind of leadership New Yorkers want. It was a reflection of the city's diverse and dynamic spirit. For voters, this was the moment to decide who will guide New York into its next chapter. The decision they make will shape the city's future for years to come. On stage stood three candidates, each with starkly different visions for New York's future. Their presence together was a striking reminder of the city's diversity, not just in its people, but in its politics and priorities. Zohran Mamdani, the Democratic candidate, is a young assemblyman from Queens and a proud Democratic socialist. He's built his campaign around affordability, tenant rights, and a promise to make New York a city for everyone, not just the wealthy or well-connected. Mamdani is seen as a bold, progressive voice, unafraid to challenge the status quo. If elected, he could become the city's first Muslim mayor, a historic milestone for representation and inclusion. Andrew Cuomo, running as an independent after losing the Democratic primary, brings decades of experience as a former governor. He claims that only he has the know-how to manage New York's complexity, especially in uncertain times. His supporters see him as a steady hand in turbulent times, someone who can navigate the city through crises and deliver results when it matters most. Curtis Sliwa, the Republican, is best known for founding the Guardian Angels, a volunteer crime prevention group. He promises a tough crackdown on crime and a return to order, pledging to make public safety his top priority. Sliwa is the populist, anti-establishment candidate, appealing to New Yorkers who feel left behind and want tough action on safety and quality of life issues. Mamdani is the idealist, pushing for radical change and a new vision of justice and equity in the city's policies. Cuomo is the veteran, arguing that experience and proven leadership are key to solving the city's toughest challenges. Sliwa is the crusader, vowing to restore law and order and to stand up for everyday New Yorkers who feel unsafe. Their differences go far beyond policy. They represent fundamentally different philosophies of government leadership and the very soul of New York. The choice is clear but not easy. Three candidates, three distinct paths for New York's future, each with its own risks and promises. In a city as vibrant and complex as New York, every voter can find a vision that speaks to their hopes, fears, and dreams for what comes next. Public safety dominated the debate, with each candidate offering a sharply different vision for how to keep New Yorkers safe. The city's recent rise in crime rates and high-profile incidents put law enforcement and community trust at the center of every discussion. Sliwa called for more police and tougher enforcement, promising visible patrols everywhere. He argued that a strong police presence would deter crime and restore a sense of order to neighborhoods that feel left behind. Cuomo echoed a tough-on-crime stance, citing his experience as a prosecutor. He emphasized the need for accountability and swift justice, saying New Yorkers deserve to feel safe on every block. Mamdani, in contrast, argued for investing in communities, jobs, and mental health to prevent crime at its roots. He believes that addressing poverty, lack of opportunity, and trauma is the only way to create lasting safety. The cost of living was another flashpoint, with many New Yorkers struggling to afford rent and basic necessities. The city's affordability crisis has pushed families to the brink, making it a top concern for voters. Mamdani proposed a citywide rent freeze and more support for working families, arguing that bold action is needed to keep people in their homes and prevent displacement. Cuomo dismissed this as unrealistic, focusing instead on job creation and economic growth. He claimed that expanding employment opportunities would help more New Yorkers afford to live in the city. Sliwa pushed for tax cuts and reduced city spending, promising to make government leaner and more efficient. He argued that lower taxes would attract businesses and create jobs. On housing, Mamdani promised to double housing vouchers and build more affordable homes, challenging developers' power and calling for a new approach to housing justice. Cuomo questioned the feasibility, pointing to his own record on affordable housing and warning that promises alone won't solve the crisis. The future of Rikers Island split the candidates. Mamdani wants it closed, while Cuomo and Sliwa insist it must stay open for safety. The debate over the jail reflects deeper disagreements about criminal justice reform and public safety. National politics loomed large, especially regarding how each would deal with President Trump. The candidates' stances on federal issues became a litmus test for their leadership. Sliwa would negotiate, Cuomo promised to stand up to Trump, and Mamdani accused Cuomo of being Trump's secret pick, adding another layer of drama to the race. Even local elections are shaped by national tensions, as voters weigh not just city policies, but the candidate's ability to navigate a divided country. The debate made clear: safety, affordability, and leadership style are on the ballot, and the city's future will be shaped by the choices New Yorkers make at the polls. The sharpest clash was between Mamdani and Cuomo, experience versus change. Cuomo leaned on his long record, painting Mamdani as untested and naive. Mamdani countered that Cuomo's experience led to today's problems, arguing for a fresh start. Each time Cuomo cited past achievements, Mamdani pointed to rising costs and persistent issues under his watch. The debate became a referendum: stability and know-how, or bold new leadership. Voters face a clear choice: stick with the old guard or risk change for a fairer city. This isn't just about two men, it's about two visions for how New York should be governed. The city's future hangs in the balance. The debate turned tense when Mamdani confronted Cuomo about the sexual harassment allegations that led to his resignation. With one of Cuomo's accusers in the audience, the moment was personal and charged. Mamdani argued that Cuomo's past makes him unfit to lead. Cuomo defended himself, noting that no criminal charges were filed and framing the issue as a political attack. For some, Mamdani's challenge was necessary accountability. For others, Cuomo's experience outweighs past controversies. The exchange forced voters to weigh personal conduct against political skill. The past is never far from the present in New York politics. Voters must decide how much it matters at the ballot box. The debate heated up over Israel and anti-Semitism. Cuomo and Sliwa attacked Mamdani for his criticism of Israel, citing a letter from hundreds of rabbis and demanding he denounce controversial slogans. Sliwa accused Mamdani of supporting extremism, which Mamdani forcefully denied. Mamdani argued he was being targeted for his identity as a Muslim candidate and insisted criticism of Israeli policy isn't anti-Semitism. With New York's large Jewish population, the issue resonated deeply. Cuomo and Sliwa positioned themselves as unwavering allies of the Jewish community. Mamdani promised to fight all forms of hate and be a mayor for everyone. The exchange highlighted how global issues and identity politics shape local campaigns. Housing and justice were front and center. Mamdani called for a citywide rent freeze and expanded housing vouchers, framing the crisis as a moral emergency. Cuomo argued the mayor lacks authority for a rent freeze, but Mamdani countered that the mayor appoints the board that sets rents. On Rikers Island, Mamdani pushed for closure and a shift to community-based justice. Cuomo and Sliwa insisted Rikers must stay open for public safety, warning of risks if it closes. The debate revealed a deep divide: bold intervention versus traditional law and order. The city's future on housing and justice is at stake. Surprisingly, all three candidates agreed to keep NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch. For Mamdani, this marked a shift from his earlier criticism of the NYPD, signaling a more moderate stance. But agreement ended there. Sliwa demanded more police and zero tolerance for crime. Cuomo emphasized his law enforcement background and support for a strong police force. Mamdani argued for investing in communities to address root causes of crime, not just policing. On immigration, all three criticized recent ICE raids, but Mamdani promised to end city cooperation with federal agents. Even when they agree, their philosophies for public safety are worlds apart. The debate closed with reflections on the COVID-19 pandemic. Sliwa slammed Cuomo's leadership. Cuomo claimed credit for the vaccine rollout. Mamdani credited city workers, not the state, for the vaccine effort. This exchange summed up their differences: experience versus grassroots action. The debate gave New Yorkers a clear look at three visions: radical change, steady experience, or tough order. Early voting begins soon, and the city's future is on the line. The choice is clear, and the stakes couldn't be higher.